Ho ho ho, hello comic book fans, here's Earl Grey, and I don't know how's it with you, but I'm in actually no good Christmas mood after that sucker of a year that was 2016. But I try to get into that Christmas mood, and somehow it helped that this book arrived the day before yesterday at my doorstep. And I figured this would be a good opportunity to show you some other comics, Christmas comics, that come to my mind when I think about Christmas. But first of all, I want to show you this gem of a book. It has this soft feel. You try to touch it. It's very sexy and shiny. Here, the paper has this gilded foil on it. And every detail about this book makes me smile. Even the binding is okay. Sewn binding. At first it's a bit tight, but then it's okay binding. Just one thing to get this out of the way. Dan Mora's art is fantastic. But the way he draws faces, especially the faces of children, is a bit too manga-ish for my taste. Let's see if I can show you some children. Here, these are quite formulaic faces that were drawn this way or the other way 1,000 times before, I guess. But on the other hand, Grant Morrison's tale of Santa Claus 0, the beginning of Santa Claus, gives enough opportunities to pick up the color bucket and to go all the way. Okay, it's digital coloring, but you know what I mean if you see this here. And it's a pretty straightforward story. Especially for Grant Morrison. And touching, heartwarming, and a bit of that old hula boo which you expect from Grant Morrison. He has access to old knowledge of the Druids, you know, and he knows that this is the rune for joy. He really took me off guard, Grant Morrison, with some sentences of his writing. His name was Klaus, which means victory of the people, and once upon a time they all lived happily. But the time is always now, and now it outlives each one of us. Simple truths, you know, but that's the stuff I want from this time of the year. Simple truths and cool sleds. I have to show. Here. Ho, 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 and the beheading of the monster. Okay, maybe this is a spoiler, but you wouldn't expect that Santa is dying in the story here. Really. So, highly recommended. One of Grant Morrison's most accessible stories. At first, Jeff Loeb's tale that was printed in The Haunted Night, drawn by Tim Sale, came to my mind, where the old Lewis Carroll story, Christmas story, was adapted for Gotham, and Bruce Wayne meets the ghosts of the past and the present and the future in the person of his father, and Poison Ivy must hear somewhere else. And there's a creepy appearance of the Joker as well. But that was not the first comic that came into my mind when I thought about it. it was actually Asterix and Obelix, the Odyssey. Don't know the English title, maybe it's just the Odyssey. And it's not a real Christmas comic, and it's just one of these little Easter eggs they put in the stories. But Asterix and Obelix have to go to Mesopotamia and Israel as well, and here they are in Jerusalem and meet this guy here, and they find shelter in Bethlehem. Just one panel on this page, and yeah, reminds me why Asterix and Obelix is simply one of the greatest comics ever. And as you can see, it was read by myself multiple dozen times and by my children, and therefore the it looks still pretty good. So another thing I associate with Christmas is Fat Freddy playing Santa for naughty children in front of the mall. Yeah, he tries to earn money, but it always goes the wrong way. That's my Wonder Warthog Freak Brothers trait I've shown in a panellogy very long ago, by the way. The biggest thing in terms of Christmas comics, at least in my family, is clearly Karl Barks. And especially this story here, Santa's Stormy Visit. It's a story we read and reread in former years. I don't know how often we read this story. And I think both of them knew the story by heart. Actually a simple story. Julie and Dewey are over the holidays and with Donald on a lighthouse, and there's an intruder in this bird. Donald wants to send him off. He just wants some warmth and he wants to kick that bird, but then Donald has some better idea. He puts him in front of the stove, but the bird destroys some of the technic stuff. But in the end, as you can imagine, everything goes fine, or relatively fine, and our bird is the hero. And they spend their nice Christmas on the lighthouse. So it has this happy ending, which is very important. And yeah, nice little story, a real jewel of a comic. And here's, I guess, the first Christmas story with Batman and Robin, where they were a little boy in the orphanage whose father was framed and is now in the prison, is helped by Batman and Robin, and they find the real criminal, and everything goes fluffy puffy and in the right way, and we have even a real false Santa, and there's the daddy with his boy. Yeah, and let's have Batman. The last sentences in this panellogy. Santa is real and always will be if we believe in the spirit he stands for. Good cheer, unselfishness, and love of fellow man. That's the real Santa Claus. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.